They called it necessary downsizing. HR's voice trembled, trying to sound professional. Across the mahogany table, the new partner, young, confident, cologne too sharp, leaned back in my chair. My chair. He smiled like he was offering mercy. "Best of luck," he said. After 25 years, that was my send-off. I didn't flinch. I just nodded, took the termination letter, and walked out of the same glass doors I'd helped pay for. The reflection in that door showed a calm man. Too calm. Because behind my silence, something else had awakened. They thought they were cutting dead weight. They had no idea they'd just let loose the man who built the empire they were sitting on. Back then, the company was nothing more than a shared desk and an overdraft account. It was me and Daniel, college roommates, dreamers, brothers in everything but blood. I brought the clients. He brought the capital. I was the strategist, the deal maker. He was the face. We promised never to let money or power come between us. We shook hands on it over whiskey and idealism. But promises, I've learned, age poorly in corporate light. When we hit our first million, Daniel brought in new partners to expand. Then came the private jets, the hidden expenses, the whispers in boardrooms. And somewhere in that noise, my name began to fade from the walls I'd built. Still, I stayed. Loyal, productive, blind. The signs came quietly at first. Meetings I wasn't invited to. Projects reassigned. A junior manager suddenly reporting directly to the board. Then one night, an accidental email, forwarded by a nervous assistant. A thread between Daniel and the new partner, Leo. Once we phase him out, investor confidence will rise. He's outdated. Sentimental. We'll call it restructuring. Outdated. Sentimental. They wanted my name gone before the new expansion deal, a merger worth billions. They thought removing me would make the company look younger, more dynamic. I read that email 3 times. Then I smiled, because for the first time in years, I saw clearly. I didn't confront them. That would have been too easy, too loud. Instead, I planned. I spent the next 6 months building something they didn't see coming. I reached out to every major client I had brought in, the same ones who trusted me, not the company logo. I took them to dinner. I listened. I planted seeds. Then I formed a new firm, quietly, off the books, using my own money and a few loyal employees who knew what loyalty really meant. I called it Reclaimer Partners, a poetic touch. While Daniel and Leo were busy polishing their press releases, I was signing confidential agreements, clauses that would trigger once I was officially terminated. Timing was everything. When the day came, I accepted the pink slip with a steady hand. I even thanked them for the opportunity. Then I went home, poured myself a drink, and waited. 3 days later, the first client pulled out. Then another. Then 7 in a single morning. By the end of the week, 70% of the company's revenue base was gone. The phones wouldn't stop ringing, the investors were panicking, and Daniel, my old friend, was finally forced to call me. He didn't start with hello. "What the hell is going on, Mark?" he demanded. "Our biggest accounts just terminated their contracts overnight." I sipped my coffee. Maybe they're just downsizing. He went quiet. I could hear his breathing, the disbelief twisting into realization. "You did this?" he whispered. "I didn't do anything," I said calmly. "I just reminded them who they trusted." 2 weeks later, the board forced Daniel to resign. Leo disappeared. Rumor had it, investors filed suit against him for fraud. The company I built collapsed from the inside, the same way they'd planned to erase me. Meanwhile, Reclaimer Partners went live, publicly, elegantly, with a full client list and a stronger reputation than ever. The industry called it the cleanest corporate takeover in years. I called it balance. I visited the old office once more. It was strange, seeing the place empty, Desks abandoned, the golden logo stripped off the glass. Daniel stood there when I arrived. He looked smaller now. "You could have just walked away," he said. His voice cracked. "I did," I replied. "You just followed me off the cliff." He stared at me, trying to find remorse, but I had none left to give. I'd mourned that friendship long ago, somewhere between his betrayal and my silence. People often ask if revenge brings peace. It doesn't, not exactly. It brings clarity, a cold, precise kind of truth. You see people for who they are, stripped of charm and excuses. You understand how loyalty can rot when exposed to greed. But most of all, it reminds you of your own strength, what you can endure, and what you can destroy when you're pushed too far. As I stood outside that building for the last time, the morning sun caught the glass just right. I saw my reflection again, older, sharper, unburdened.